Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz on August 19, 2012, about 55 minutes after midnight, Birmingham. Topic: Atheist dies in hospital. Where did he go? I read a story about a gentleman that said he was an atheist all his life. He said, I never believed in God, I never believed in Satan, I never believed in heaven, and I never believed in hell. But remember that old saying, there are no atheists in foxholes. Well, this gentleman was in some sort of accident, but they revived him, got to the hospital, and he supposedly died again. And he was covered up by the doctor, and the doctor looked at his watch and said, I'm calling it. And he called a time. In the meanwhile, this man, his name is Joe, that's an atheist, is above his body, floating, looking down at him, and he thinks that he's dead. He said, but I'm here, you know. He didn't believe he'd be anywhere. He thought he'd disappear. And then people calls him by name. And he turns around. And he said, there's several people there. He said, all call my name. Come on, Joe, we've been waiting for you. And he said, I didn't know any of them. I never saw these guys before. There were guys and even women. And come on, Joe, let's go. We gotta leave. So he goes out with him. He looks back once again and still sees his body is covered up on the gurney. Okay, well, he's walking. He says, I don't know how long I walked, but all I knew is I remember before I had, heart attack, it was a bright, sunny day, and all of a sudden now I'm walking with these guys, and it's no longer sunshine, and it's real dark. He says, even cool. And he's walking with them. And he said about 3/4 of the way to where they were going, he said, in my mind, it felt like I walked 3 hours. He said 2 hours, they started picking on me, punching at me, scratching at me. And one of them behind him kept slapping him in the back of the head. He said, what is this? He said, you're going home, Joe. Come on. Holding us up. Let's get out of here. Well, he continues walking with them. And then all of a sudden, those saying there's no atheists in the foxhole kind of came to his mind or something like that. He felt afraid. And he didn't know what to do. So he arrives. There's a giant opening, no door, but he could hear things coming from inside. He heard screams, and it scared him. And he said, what can I do? What can I do to get out of this? I don't know. And then it came to him, Jesus. I don't believe in Jesus. I mean, you know, is Jesus real? Well, he's getting more and more afraid. So then it hit him at a time around age 6. He was at vacation Bible school. And he said, I don't know why I remembered it. He said, I remember gluing popsicle sticks together and making fans. But also he remembers singing a song, Jesus Loves Me, This I Know. He said, I didn't know any more words. That's just what I remember. He said, but I am afraid now. I am really afraid. He said, not only are they now scratching at me, they're cutting at me. And the guy's not only popping me in the back of the head with his hand, he's slapping him pretty hard. All of a sudden, Joe is afraid. And Joe thinks, wow, you know, maybe God was real. Maybe heaven is real. I don't know what this place is, but I don't want to go there. So that song popped in his mind that he had forgotten all those years ago, but he started singing it. And he started singing it louder and louder. And he noticed the louder he sung it, the further away those people would move from him. So at the same time, he sees out the left corner of his eye a very bright light. Straight from him was very dark. Right here, he turned and looked at it, and this white light was a pinpoint that came up to him and engulfed him, surrounded him with a white light, and ushered him away. And whether it was Jesus or an angel, I don't know. I don't know if he even mentioned it, but he said he was asking questions and they were being answered. And he finally said, wow, that is a beautiful place. Are we going there? And this person said, no, we're not. You got to go back. He says, but I don't want to go back. They said, but you have to go back. And then next thing he knew, he was in his body. And then the first thing that came to his mind was Jesus. Well, he is no longer an atheist. He said, I don't know why I ever thought that. He is saved. He is now a preacher. So here I am. I'm saved. I accepted Christ a long time ago. And on a regular basis, sometimes several times a day, sometimes once a day, Lord, please forgive me. I have sinned today. You know, we sin every day. But then I'm thinking about this. Wow, what if this happens to me? What if I'm sinning or just sin, which we all sin every few minutes, whether we know it or not, even by thought. But I laid across my bed and I went to sleep, and then I had a massive heart attack. This was in my dream, that almost incapacitated me. I could barely move. Then I had another hard heart attack that got me so that I was only able to move a hand. I'm trying to get my phone to dial 911, and then bam, I have a stroke. I'm locked. I am frozen in place. Frozen. And what did I do? I screamed to the top of my lungs, Jesus. In my mind, not with my mouth, but I screamed, Jesus. And instantly, the Lord was there, right then. But He wasn't there to carry me home because I was in a dream. What I had just received was a confirmation that if you've ever had Jesus on the tip of your tongue or in your mind, you still have time to know Him. Even on your deathbed, even though they covered His body up, He went back to His body and He was revived, not by them, but He was revived. He was on His deathbed. He has already taken, he thought, His last breath. So, my point is, if you think it's too late for you to call on the Lord to save you, as long as you have the thought in your mind and you cannot speak it, your mind speaks to God. All these silent prayers that people do, driving under, God protect me to the big old storm. As long as you can think it and call on Jesus when you think it's too late, it is not too late. Don't forget that. Jesus is waiting. When you call that name, every angel in heaven turns and looks at you, and Jesus is there. Jody Wolf, Expoz.